I've seen a lot of money making guides all around New World. Honest to God, I think most of them are really, really bad, to say the least. They all depend on market changes and what's hot and what's new. So I want to give you a guide to basically at any given point in time, if you do any of these sorts of content, you'll net a ton of money. And they're fairly easy to do, at least if you're 625. As you can see, we're on the TP right now. All of these usually are crafted items, except as you can see, you get stuff like this that are drops. And most of the time, if I was to bet, you would get something like this from M10s, which is my first money making guide tip. If you want to make a ton of money, run M10s if you can, either to sell the shards or to get the loot. The loot is usually the place where you make the most amount of money. As it is right now, Dynasty and Barnacles are mutated. I highly recommend you do Dynasty. Dynasty is one of my favorite money-making dungeons. If I could give a story, I did 3 M10 Dynasties one day, and in those 3 runs, I made 700,000 gold from 2 items, which is absolutely insane. I highly recommend you do that if you can. If you cannot, however, or don't want to, there are other ways. One of the best ways, obviously, is World Tours, Scarab runs, and Trophy Mat runs. World Tours, you do the elite runs like Imperial, or come over here to Reekwater Sirens. Up north, you got Malevolence, and Mines and Merc. You can net some pretty good things, some trophy mats, some legendaries, gold and steel storage chest schematic, the bonsai centerpiece, the fishbowl, all big money items. Once you're done with that, because this is usually a one-time day a thing, you can switch over to the trophy runs. I usually stick to Reekwater, and I've actually added a really quick one in Brimstone that I'll show you. You start over at the Lazarus Shrine, head over to Skyview Riposte, down over to Mosswater Bog, over to Glimmerfen, and then the Varied Grotto. I've netted myself from this one run, obviously multiple times over, but I've gotten 5 precision armoring tools from just doing this run over and over and over again. I've added one up here. This one area, Jupiter's Grove in Brimstone, has a ton of chests. I've gotten 2 Armorer's Journals from here, and then Notes of Eternum Fauna from, I want to say, like 4 or 5 runs, so that's a really good area. Another place, if you just want to do this on rotation, you could come over to north of Ebonscale, go to the Air Shrine, the Sky Song Shrine, and then Sky Song Temple. Then come all the way up to Shattered Mountain, do the Lapis, Polis, Iterus, Vehemus, all the way up to Odium, and then finish up in the Fetid Fang Cave. Nice little run. Once you do all of them, you could come right back down to Reek and do that. Another way is Scarabs. Scarabs are a hot item, will probably always be a hot item. I don't see them always being crazy expensive, just because they're not terribly hard to get, but they're just in really high demand. Usually what I do is I start out with the acid pools, create a route for that. Once I'm done with them, you could do the elite run in Brimstone, or the World Tour Brimstone, Castrum, Helio, and the Wall. You can also get some from the beds of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but they're scattered all across the map, and the acid pools are the 7%ers, Castrum is the 4%ers, and then all the glyph chests are 2%ers. So if you net somewhere between like 5 and 6 a day, that's like 20,000 right there. So just pretty standard ways of making money. Obviously you can material farm. You can go for star metal or calcum, ironwood. You could try to get like the thwarting strikes craft mod, the squirming vines craft mod, stuff like that. But those are usually the most mundane and boring ways to do it, so I try to avoid them. Also, there's a lot of competition for that, but you obviously have that at the tail end of things. And one of the last ways, but not one of the greatest ways for those who just don't feel like doing any of these forms of content, is PvP. PvP, you may think that you don't get a ton for it. You're spending a lot of time just PvPing, and like OPR you get 300 gold and you don't even get any from arena. But there is a lot of ways to make money, obviously, specifically through the PvP track. If you get like Shirking Empower, Invigorated Punishment, Mortal Empower craft mods, you can sell the rolls for 1,000, 2,000, maybe even 3,000, depending on which server you're on, each, just for one roll of these craft mods. And they're not hard to get. You just run PvP and you get them very, very, very easily. Also, you can turn them into your own rolls to sell for Abyss. Like, I crafted 3 rolls with Invigorated Punishment, and I think it only cost me around 4 grand to make. Something like that, 4 grand to make. And I netted myself 100,000 just on that alone. Like, you can get some pretty crazy things from them. Just looking at the rings right now, and even the amulets, you can get a ton of money for that. But even at its base form, the PvP track can give you coin. The higher level you are, the more you get out of the coin pouches. And you can get like somewhere between 10 and 20 grand a day just off those coin satchels. Along with the craft mods, you can net easily 40-50,000 gold a day just from PvP. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously M10s are going to be your greatest ticket, but I know a lot of people can't necessarily run M10s. So I hope these other options do help you. You can obviously turn those other making gold into buying shards and getting your gear score up so that you can run M10s. But at the end of the day, there's a ton of ways to make serious gold in this game. I personally haven't really run I think I've run one M10. I didn't get much out of it. But all this 117,000 is literally just from playing arenas for the past week. Like, literally only playing arenas. So you can make a ton of money really quickly. People say the economy is dead. In some cases, yes, but for the most part, you can still make a profit. So I hope this guide helps everyone out. And as always, take care, and I'll talk to y'all later.